all of the consent agenda items, and then we'll ask whether there's any reason to take any of the individual items out from it. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Director Baker. And is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Director Burris. We have a motion and a second. Does anyone wish to pull any of the individual items out of the consent agenda grouping for further discussion? There being none, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda items from Director Baker and a second from Director Burris. Would all those in favor indicate that by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes. Next is item 5, board action items. First is resolution F0328-08-24 authorizing the sale of $27.5 million of general obligation promissory notes, series 2024-2025C of Milwaukee Area Technical College District, Wisconsin. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Director Burris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Director Baker. We have a motion and a second. Would just Mr. Fisher come up and tell us about this morning's sale?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. So it's that time of the year where we do the little bit larger financing than the usual ones. We went out for bid this morning and I'll go through the results with everyone. So if you flip to page 2 of that presentation packet, we received a good amount of bids, which was great to see. It's kind of to be expected here. It's a little bit larger financing, a little bit more attractive to the general potential bidders here, looking at bidding on this issuance. You know, if we think about last year, when we did the $27 million issue, we had 11 bids. So very similar to the results of last year. But the positive thing here is last year, when we did this issue, we received a 3.18%. So we received a 2.6726% on this issuance. So it's good to see the interest rates are coming down from where we were last year. And you've heard that on the news and so forth, with the Fed likely going to be doing something here in September. It's really a question of, are they doing 25 basis points? Are they going to do 50 basis points? And then what are they going to potentially do after that? That's kind of the big question marks right now in the marketplace. So great result here for the sale. If we go to page 3, the issue summary. So this was the general obligation promissory note, series 2024-25C, $27.5 million. This one will close September 12th of 2024, with maturities ranging from December 1, 2024 through June 2029. First interest payment is going to be December 1 of 2024. It is non-callable, and the Moody's affirmed the college's rating of the AA1 bond credit rating. Again, low bidder was JP Morgan at 2.67%. The next page is the long-term financing illustration. So again, this is something that we work with staff continually looking at different modeling and so forth, and what's coming in the years in the future and so forth. So the left side of the page, that's your existing debt service payments. That's what's outstanding. That's what's been borrowed for up to date. The middle of the page, that's what that's what the financings are going to take place over the next year plus. We've also modeled in the future debt service payments of future financings, figuring that the college is going to continue to finance capital needs year over year. So we try to do that long-term planning. And then the right side of the page, that's something that we continue to look at with Eva and her team, making sure that we hit the targets that are set by the board. So everything continues to be on track with all of that. So that's good news. And then the last several pages, that's the updated Moody's rating report. There isn't really a whole lot updated here. Essentially, they just go through and talk about why the district received the AA1 rating, and it's almost identical to the last report that you've seen. So, congratulations.
Any questions, Director Baker?
Almost.
Besides just updating the amount of outstanding debt, that was the only change.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you.
If she didn't ask, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. We have a motion by Director Burris and a second by Director Baker to approve the resolution FO 328-0824. Would you please call the roll?
Director Burris.
Aye.
Director Case.
Aye.
Director Ramos.
Aye.
Director Morrow McClintock.
Aye.
Director Najib.
Aye.
Director Owen Moore.
Aye.
Director Pence.
Aye.
Director Baker.
Aye.
Director Foley.
Aye, resolution passes. Next is resolution FO 329-08-24, authorizing the issuance of $1.5 million of general obligation promissory notes, series 2024-2025D of Milwaukee Area Technical College, District of Wisconsin. Is there a motion to approve this resolution to sell bonds again?
So. Second.
Thank you, Director Owen Moore and Director Burris. Is there any discussion? All right, we have a motion by Director Owen Moore, a second by Director Burris. To approve the resolution, would you please call the roll?
Director Case.
Aye.
Director Ramos.
Aye.
Director Owen Moore.
Aye.
Oh.
We're out of order, but just go
yeah.
ahead.
Director Morrow McClintock.
Aye.
Director Najib.
Aye.
Director Pence.
Aye.
Director Baker.
Aye.
Director Burris. Director Foley.
Aye, resolution passes.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
Yes, Director Baker.
just a point of personal privilege, if I could.
Sure.
I feel that I want to recognize and welcome our new president. who's
It's
sitting
coming.
at the- A lot of the way through our agenda, dude.
Okay,
Very important thing.
That's chairperson, dude. Mr. Chairperson, dude.
okay, so I should have done this at the beginning. On behalf of the board, first of all, I want to recognize and welcome all of our students and faculty who are here for the new semester. I want to recognize and welcome Warren Murphy, who is our new Student Senate representative. And I would like to welcome Dr. Anthony Cruz, who is, what is it again? Oh, yes, president of the college.
For today.
At your first board meeting.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
That's what we're here for. I'm just so excited to get through these
Right?
resolutions.
We're just flying.
You got excited that there were no comment.
Yes. Next is resolution F 330-08-24 to approve the building trade rate changes. And is there a motion to approve? And then we'll see if there's discussion.
So moved.
Motion by Director Case. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Owen Moore. All right. Vice President Bonds, would you like to come tell us about this? Oh, it's going to be Dan.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. My name is Dan McColgan and I'm Director of Labor Relations for the college. And this motion before you is pursuant to Board Policy CO 901, which essentially sets forth the concept that we have 8 or 9 positions in the building trades, and the board policy says we follow the prevailing wage rate from the Trades Council with regard to annual increases. And the rates in the attachment basically reflect what was provided to MATC in mid-July from the Milwaukee Building Trades Council. And the rates, most of them are retroactive to either early June or late May. And again, there's like 8 or 9 positions. I think they cover approximately 5 different trades.
Thank you. Any questions? Director Pence.
Does it make sense to get a second opinion on these rates? From somebody besides the building trades council, just asking. I don't know the history of this.
Yeah, I'm
at
not
all.
sure. It's been a board policy, I think since '84, was reviewed
Okay,
in 2018. And, typically it's from the Milwaukee Building Trades Council. So I'm not sure how that squares with the board policy, and I'm not sure who the alternate source would be.
What do you say that?
as much, I'm struggling with this one, as much as I'm about the trades and everything, there's a couple of rates that seem high, and I reached out to a couple of general contractors, and I'm struggling mostly because I'm all about the trades, so that's the issue that I have with it. There's a couple that just seem out of whack from what is paid by general contractors in the Milwaukee area. So I don't know.
The board policy specifically identifies,
Right.
we
I
would
know.
pay the rates identified by the Milwaukee Building and Construction Trades Council, so I don't know if there's much wiggle room there to.
Yeah,
Director Baker?
Perhaps the board could ask for the rate sheet from the Building Trades Council.
We
I
have
believe
it.
that was
We
provided.
have it.
yeah.
And so this is the rate sheet.
Well, the actual one is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
25 pages long and it
Okay.
covers a lot of trades we don't have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Director Pence asked for confirmation of that, and it was sent to him and to me. I thought it was sent more broadly, but I apologize if anybody else needs to see it. But you said the policy was last revised in 2018?
It was reviewed
It was reviewed.
in 2018.
Okay, we are in the process of doing an accelerated review of policies. Let's find out where this one would be on the schedule. I think if it says 2018, it's probably pretty close to the top of the schedule. And we can have some discussion, when that policy is set up for review about whether there should be another or an alternative or the same.
Okay.
Source, then that would, I think, would be the most efficient way to do it. Any other questions or comments about this resolution? Director
I
Owen.
just wanted to know a little bit about why the retroactive, like.
We're kind of at the mercy of the Trades Council. In terms of when we get the information, and they're pulling information from several different trades, and I believe that's probably the effective date. You know, for others that are in those different trades, that's effective throughout the greater Milwaukee community. And so we kind of follow. So when we got a general increase, the rest of us in July, Building
Yeah.
Trades Council employees did not get their annual general increase at that time.
Director Baker.
If people aren't familiar, which some of us who were in the apprenticeship field are, the Building Trades Council actually negotiates those wages in the construction industry. And so what's reflected is what they've negotiated with a variety of contractors. I guess we just need to sort of confirm how we learn that or whatever, but the reason it's always been in our policy is because they are the source of those contracts. And all the people who work in our construction trades work under those terms.
How many people do we have that are governed by these rates?
I believe there's 8 or 9.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any discuss, I'm sorry, Director Burris.
So we are going to approve it right now, or we're not?
Well, there is a motion to approve it in a second, and we're gonna take a vote as soon as I know that everyone has had their word on it. Okay. Dr. Najib, do you have any questions or comments?
I agree with Director Pence. If there's a way to get at least one more estimate, they will have a better idea this way. But it depends upon the policy itself, how it's written. Either we can or we cannot do it.
Right, I think as it's written, we can certainly ask for the information, but we are required to rely on this. So if we want to reconsider that, I think we should do that in terms of reconsidering the policy as it comes up. But that's not on the table right now. All right, everyone's had their say, questions raised. We have a motion by Director Case, a second by Director Owen Moore. Would all those in favor of approving the resolution to approve building trade rate changes indicate that by saying aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Resolution passes. Actually, do we need to do a roll call on that one? All right, so just to be sure we've done it right, my apologies. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Director.
Aye.
Director Mormon Kunde.
Aye.
Director Najib.
Aye.
Director Owen Moore. Aye. Director Pence.
Aye.
Director Baker.
Aye.
Director Burrs.
Aye.
Director Case.
Aye.
Director Foley.
Aye. Resolution passes. Next is policy review, policy D. I'm not sure if it's an O or a 0, 106, community service programs. Is Executive Dean Sadiq Ishahaku here? Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good evening, everyone. So this is really a slight change in the policy. Good evening. I'm sorry. I'm Mohammed Dakbar, Vice President of Learning here with Dean Sadiq Isahaki here. So this is a description of the community service provided to our community here. It's just slight edits on the policy. I don't know if you can pull it back and show on the screen. No? Do you have a copy?
We
of
have
it by
it.
any
We have
chance?
it. Yeah.
So like I said, it's just to clarify that, you know, this is, you know, in the past, we used to say that we have short-term courses and seminars through the community service and so on. You know, this is not really exactly what happens there. What we do is offer community education courses, programs, and services, you know, to our community. And that's just a correction on that policy. That's the extent of that change.
Is this presented for first review with a vote later?
Yep.
Is that where we're at?
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions about that particular policy change? Good, let's go on to policy D. Is it an O or a 0?
It's zero.
501, development, modification, and improvement of instructional programs and courses.
Absolutely, and there is a very slight change here, and we make reference to pathways instead of divisions. We used to say the division of School of Business, you know, business division, you know, and so on and so forth. We changed that to pathways, and that's the edit that you see in this particular policy.
Any questions about this policy? Okay, so this will be on the agenda next month for approval.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And would the General Counsel Sherry Terrell Webb please come up and tell us about the policy regarding artificial intelligence E202-2.
As you may recall, as part of our work on the AI policy, and bringing AI more into the college, we did decide that as a guidepost for introducing AI to the community, that we needed to establish a policy. This is the policy that was written by the policy group. I was a part of that group, along with a number of people from IT, as well as some faculty and staff members.
And this is our second look at it.
This is your second.
Any questions about this proposed policy? Director Tina Owen Moore?
I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, that I mean, like to see this as our beginning AI, our protections when it comes to AI, and really start to think about, as we develop this policy over time, how do we reflect where we want to move to with regards to teaching and learning, and thinking about the more creative uses and advancing, because we got to keep up with the workforce that's coming. So I love it as that protection, but I also hope that we'll be seeing it again in the next couple of years or even sooner, because this is moving fast. And thinking about how we make a statement about what we believe in through the policies.
Our policies require that we review our policies on a 4-year rotating basis.
Correct.
Is there anything that precludes us from coming back to a policy earlier than that?
No, and actually, when we developed this one, that was the discussion among the group, was when did we think it would need to come back, knowing that it would probably come back sooner than on the regular cycle. And right now, we are working in concert with Don from IT, who is really in this every day. And, you know, whenever he would think that it would be required, we would look at making changes and bringing it back to the group.
I'd like you to put that on your list of things to do in about 10 months. I think this is gonna move so fast that we are gonna need to look at it again within a year. And maybe
agree.
again a year after that, and then we'll see if things have settled down or solidified. Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. Any other questions or comments before we vote on this one? Dr. Najib, anything?
No.
All right, we have a motion from I don't think we have a motion. Is there a motion to approve
I'll
this?
make a motion.
Thank you, Dr. Najib. Is there a second? Director Burris? Thank you. Any further discussion now that we've had our motion and our second? Hearing none, would all those in favor of approval of this policy indicate that by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reports. I get to go first, I guess, today, and I've already done my welcome speech, such as it is.
We just couldn't wait.
Yes, I know. I wanted to say on the record, because I don't think it is in the record elsewhere yet, that I have made board committee assignments for the 24-25 year. So I'm formally announcing that Director Case will serve as a board liaison to the MATC Foundation. Director Burris will serve as the board representative to the MATC Legislative Task Force. Director Pence, as the board treasurer, will chair the Audit Advisory Committee and serve on the FCC OPEB Trust Committee. In addition to these, I have volunteered myself to continue participation on the board of directors of the Wisconsin Technical College District Boards Association. And I have been asked to be the chair of the effervescent bylaws committee, which I will probably do. We have a couple, as you board members know, and Dr. Cruz know, we have a couple of work groups functioning right now. I'm not going to ask for reports on those yet, but probably by the next board meeting. So we can see what progress we've made and what suggestions we have, and can wrap up this work before the end of this year. All right. Let's see. The ACCT Leadership Conference is being held October 23 to 26 in Seattle. It's the largest professional development opportunity for community college trustees. If you are interested in attending, would you please give that information to Beth or Peter, and they will let me know. And we'll see what to do there. We have a voting opportunity for regional and national members of that organization, and our District Boards Association members typically are very eager for us to be there and vote for them, because for some reason, I guess it's our size, we get 2 votes, which most schools don't. So I will find out if anyone from that organization is up for appointment or reappointment, and bring that back to you and see if you have any input on that. Next, October 23rd to 26th in Seattle. In front of you is an annual schedule of board agenda items and events. This is, you've seen this before. It's an iterative process. I would like you, following this meeting, to take a close look at this particular schedule, because I think we're pretty close to final. See if there's anything you think needs to be done at a different time, or that's missing in particular. There are some dates that I've asked the administration to develop with no particular deadline right now, but dates that involve our compliance obligations as a school. Do we have a date by which we have to submit information to the WTCS, to the federal government for student aid purposes, et cetera? and see how we might work those into a compliance schedule that would be coordinated with this. And also, our committee that's looking at board training, I've asked to tell us when particular topics should be taught so that they are in anticipation of the things on this list. I think this will help us all keep the big picture in mind. So I'm looking forward to your input on this. That's all I have today, which means Dr. Cruz.
Mr. Chair, good afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, board members, students, faculty, staff, and community. It's great to be here. And, I've been the last month and a half been really impressed with everything that this college stands for in the community, and been talking to a lot of different stakeholders internally and externally, making sure that at least I get to know the area better, get to know what the needs are of the community. And in addition to that, just to see the opportunities that we have to improve and become a better asset in this community. I think we already do so many great things, but I think that we always have room to improve and always looking for those opportunities. Just wanted to talk a little bit about in my report about enrollment. Obviously very important as we are kicking off our fall semester and where we stand with enrollment. I think before, in that enrollment funnel, when you're looking at when students are, thinking about coming here and going through, just contemplating it, going through the application process, we're seeing really great strides this year when it comes to what we've been doing from a recruitment and marketing side. And that is really, the evidence of that is in our applications, our increase in applications this year versus last year. If you look at, we'll look at it in a second, but it'll come up in a second. We are up on applications as a whole, almost 20% from where we were last year. When we track these applications, we're looking at those that are received, those that are completed. Completed really means that students have to do a couple other steps in order to complete their applications. One of those big steps is completing their transcript, which meaning, submitting their transcript to the college, which is something that we're looking at right now and seeing how we can change that process a bit so that does not impede them in the application process. And so that's something that we're currently working on. We will have in place definitely before this time it comes around next year, and definitely before, we start the cycle really for the fall semester recruitment. And that will mean that there will be more students who applied that actually have their application completed, and will actually get to the next phase, which is basically completion. Then we'll be working with our teams on the student services side and on the academic side on helping those students actually register for classes. So what we're realizing is that we're seeing a very large increase in applications. We've seen more students register for classes this fall than last year. We're up about 7% from last year, which is actually 5% over what our goal was, which is really great. But I think there's a lot more opportunity to actually convert those students from applicant to registrant. So we'll have to build more systems on that registration side. And when I talk about systems, I'm not talking about computer systems or electronic systems, but really people systems, on how we help students get from that applicant status to actually registering for classes. We already know that with our pathways, we have a great system in place, but I want to see somehow we can increase those conversion rates. So we'll have more students going from applicant to registrant. Currently, like I said, we're up about 7% on our FTE count as compared to last year about this time. And our head count, we're up about 10% from where we were last year at this time. So very good numbers. Another significant piece is that, and we've been striving as an emerging HSI to get to HSI designation. And last year, we were at 21.4% of our students who are Hispanic taking at least 12 credits or more. And in the fall semester, this year, we're at 23.4. We've actually gone up 2 percentage points from last year, getting much closer to the goal of 25%, which those numbers really do not have to be submitted to the federal government until October. So we still have sometime this fall to actually, there's a possibility of hitting that 25% number or percentage because we need about another 50 students to register full-time in order to hit that mark. Just to give you an idea about that, so we have this year about 3,300 students who identify as Hispanic registered so far for the fall semester. 774 of those students are registered full-time, 12 credits or more. So we need about 50 more, about 820 to get to the 25%. So that's something may happen this year. If we're going to put some strategies in place, see if we can have that happen. If that does not happen, we'll continue to work on that goal going forward and hoping to hit that mark by next year at this time. Any questions about the enrollment report?
Dr. Najib, any questions?
The slide before, I saw the Hispanic 28%. What is this percentage then?
Well, that's okay. So that's a percentage of based on head count versus those students who are actually registered full-time, 12 credits or more.
Okay.
So the federal government is really looking at, although we can say as an institution, it's 28% of our population may be Hispanic, but when it comes to the students that are actually registered, it's 20, they're registered full-time for 12 credits or more. For the fall semester, it's 23.4.
Thank you.
You're welcome. From the DEI perspective, the college is hosting individual orientations for different student cohorts, and we've been doing that through the summer in order to get ready for the fall. And on August 12th, the Multicultural Services Department welcomed approximately 170 new students to MATC for multicultural orientation. And this is, by the way, a record attendance for this type of event at the college. And the students I was able to attend, and students got to interact with one another. I think it was a great day for them to kind of get a sense of what the college is all about and actually create those connections and really get to know what type of services are offered by the college outside the classroom that might help them and support them on their journey here at MATC. Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is also sponsoring 15 staff members to go through a student success analytics program to better understand data and how to close the equity gaps. And this is something that started on August 23rd and will run through November 15th. And this is really designed to help our staff how to better utilize data and then using that data to really help our students even more. And particularly when we're talking about any type of equity gaps when we're related to student success. So I think this is a great effort, and those individuals will be getting much needed training in order to do that. On the front and the foundation front, MATC Foundation has received funding to start the MATC Supplies for Success grant to help students with the cost of books, equipment, and other things that they need. And they're looking, and the generous donor has offered to match donations dollar for dollar. And thus far for the fall semester, we had $80,000. And by August 8th, the entire $80,000 was committed to 312 students. So definitely meeting students where they are and providing much needed supplies for these students to be successful here at the college. And also very important, we had an event, an employer appreciation event, which was an M-Cubed event that happened here that we hosted on August 22nd. And we were joined by the superintendent of MPS. We also had almost 100 employer partners that joined us for that day. Great day to share in the things that are happening with apprenticeships and internships and how we can expand those opportunities to more students here at the college, working along with our partners at UWM and MPS. And also obviously those employers who are providing those amazing opportunities for our students. Finally, I just wanted to say that I wanted to introduce Dr. Yen Huang. She's our new Vice President of Enrollment and Retention. She joined MATC back in 2004 as manager of institutional research and then became the director in 2013. And I just want to, just to let everybody know, and please welcome Dr. Wong to her new position as VP.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Dr. Wong, would you like to say a few words? Just a few words.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. Yeah, I'm honored to become the permanent position. So I really, since I became the acting VP for this position, I still enjoy the work. It's a lot of challenging. I know Dr. Cruz and Dr. Kingi was a very high goal to reach. And I think I work well with my team, and then we're confident to reach some of the goals. And then if we don't, we will continue to strive to reach those goals for the students and for the community purpose. So thank you for your support. And I think my IR background come handy, so that's good. So when Dr. Cruz asked me something, okay, I can do it myself without asking IR. Some, not all of them. I still have to turn to them in some other cases. So again, thank you. I know I have been presenting some information here, but I will continue to provide anything you may need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Mr. Chair, this concludes my presentation and my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Cruz?
Yeah, I have a question. Are we gonna have a one-on-one meeting with Dr. Cruz, like what we used to do with Dr. Martin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are being scheduled.
Okay.
Dr. Wong?
President Cruz, I just wanted to thank you for putting the number around what we need to get to reach that Hispanic certified
Yeah,
institution.
definitely.
Like, it felt very real and very doable when you did that. So I just want to say that I appreciated that.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's definitely doable and obtainable. There's a few other provisions in order to get that designation, but the enrollment number is usually the one that's the biggest obstacle, right? And most difficult to achieve. But I believe that, we're currently doing a lot of things when it comes to this recruitment process. That's why we are where we are with that number. And definitely being so close, I think that if we do just a few more things, I think that we can get there.
Yeah, thank you.
But thank you for that.
Any other questions, comments? I'd just like to add that it's great to see these very positive numbers.
The teams have been working very diligently throughout the year, to make sure that this happens, and it's a reality of great work.
Yep, thank you. Next, we have the Student Senate report from Warren Murphy. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Foley. Thank you, Dr. Cruz, members of the board, administration, and community members. My name is Warren Murphy. I'm our district student association chairperson. And while our student board representative position is vacant, I'll be here to share some updates with you. First, I should mention that we are following our guidelines as outlined in the Constitution to fill the role and find a replacement. Our person that we had in the position currently did not re-enroll in classes. So that's the issue that we were running into. I'm excited to share that the campus student associations and the district student associations are beginning our activities for the academic year. DSA, or the district student associations, have been meeting over the summer and really working to plan the elections for the CSA, which is essentially our campus legs of the district student association. So far, our goals are discussing and focusing on increasing student outreach, making sure we're participating in events, amplifying student voices. And as chairperson, I'm really excited about the way it's looking. We have a lot of really ambitious people on the team this year. One of the other things that we're really excited about is the Wisconsin Student Government, which begins on October 4th with the WSG leadership training and meeting. That's going to happen at the Nicollet College. So we're looking forward to advocate for technical colleges and really represent MATC at the state level. As a student, I'm really looking forward to this semester. I'm beyond grateful that I've found a variety of things to get involved with on the campus. And one of those things that we're really looking forward to is a conference that I'll be attending in a few weeks in September here called Camp 2030. I'm at Camp 2030, 6 students from MATC are going to meet with about 200 other students from all around the world. I think last year there was like roughly 50 countries that had students there. And what we do is we get together and we talk about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we workshop solutions. I think the people who come up with the best pitch get to give it at the UN week, which is super cool. It should be a really interesting trip, and I hope to bring back some new knowledge and insight to share with our peers. The first week of classes is officially behind us, and I just want to give a small recap of how things went. We had great welcome events. We gave students a great first impression of our college, and we really provided assistance with any questions they had. It was nice to see so many tables out. It was nice to meet so much of the faculty and staff. And that was really just the first round of welcome back events, right? Our second round is going to consist of welcome back lunches, and I think it finishes up, I think today, Mequon has a welcome back event. There are plenty of things happening on campus to start the year, and morale really does seem high. I'd just like to thank all of you for your time and the opportunity to share this information with you today. And I'm really looking forward to finding the right candidate for our student board representative position. I'm even more so looking forward to a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
are you considering yourself as a candidate for
The way that our constitution is currently drafted, it prevents me from holding both the chairperson and this role. So at the time, no, but we will find the perfect person for the spot.
Okay, thank you for following the rules.
Any other questions or comments for our student representative? Thank you very much. Next is the advisory audit report by Director Pence.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I got to spend some time with Brian Kubzik before the meeting. We spent a couple hours just to learn what the mechanics of the internal audit committee is. So we had our first meeting on Wednesday, August 7th. Dr. Cruz was there. And I believe Phil King was one of the first few meetings he's been at on this. Chris Morgan, Assistant General Counsel, provided an update on Title IV, sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, and other forms of discrimination regulations that become effective August 1st. There are ongoing legal proceedings involving this legislation. Likely additional changes will be required. Internal audit update was then provided. Risk assessment, Brian introduced Don Kasperzak, Director of IT, who discussed district's mutual insurance monetary award used in fiscal year 2024 to address and identify theft protection and cybersecurity. The discussion included how the CrowdStrike software, as well as Department of Homeland Security offerings, the treasurer did ask if it was free to the college, are benefiting are benefiting this work. Audit plan for 2025 was discussed. 3 audits are currently on the plan: financial aid, data quality, and program viability. Draft results of financial aid review were discussed, and other 2 audits are in the planning stages. Audit results, Mr. Kubik walked through 4 findings from the financial aid review. These are related to attendance taking, FDC safeguard rules, course start and end dates, and cohort development rate. Then there was a review of the advisory audit committee charter, and Brian noted that it's in his opinion, the committee met the charter requirements for fiscal year 2024 and shared the initial assessments for fiscal year 2025. Last personal opinion on this is really a good resource for the school to have. As a business owner, I appreciate the ability to have ISO auditing and have AS 9100 auditing, and it helps me to know that my business is running good. I appreciate that we have this at the school. I think it's a good resource. So.
Any questions for Director Pence? Director Baker.
So just one question, because I have been a little, he turned away, you know? I've been,
Your enthusiasm is sometimes overwhelming. I mean, thank you.
So I've been a little confused sometimes. Is it strictly financial auditing that's in that charge for the committee?
No, I feel that it's universally around topics that could be brought to the table, I believe. So I would,
So it could be, for instance, auditing a program effectiveness or some, some process we're using that we're
I'm
trying
looking
to
at the
see.
boss over there a little bit.
I've always viewed it as just sort of a financial function, but I'm starting to think that amongst many other things in life, I may be wrong about this.
It is not just financial. We have looked at various items within the college, and the way we have traditionally come about the topics is through survey and quarterly meetings with division leaders. And so it could be anything that may have come up on one of our radar that we say, hey, we think this might be an issue, or we would like you to look into this. And then that's how we move forward.
Thank you.
The IT discussion was fascinating. It was pretty cool. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you very much, Director Pence. Next is a grants report from Jennifer McCulley. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for inviting the annual update. I'm Jennifer McCulley, and I work in the Institutional Effectiveness Division, and I'm Director of Quality Planning and Assessment. And I hope that you were able to view or listen to the presentation that I sent you last week. I'll just give you a few highlights here, anticipating that you did view that and that you have some materials in front of you to review. But Grants and Development Department at MATC is a small team, and we have responsibility for managing all of the public funding. So grants from federal, state, and local government sources. And I want to thank our department leader, Stephanie Townsend. She prepared the written report that you have in front of you and the slide that you see up on the screen. On the slide, you can see that last fiscal year, we ended the year with about $8.5 million in public funding. And about 85% of that comes from WTCS. So 7.26 million came from WTCS. And last year, this was about a 62% increase over the year prior. And that increase was largely due to a major allocation from WTCS that was the result of state legislation, Act 89, which gave the technical college system funding to expand oral health care. So MATC received 1.7 million from that to expand our dental programs, including capital improvements to our clinic and expansion so that we can serve more students. Our WTCS funding for the current fiscal year, which began July 1st, we're currently at about $5.2 million. And this is about the same as where we were last year at this time. Beyond WTCS, we're currently awaiting details on a multi-million-dollar sub-award from Madison College as part of the Wisconsin Biohealth Tech Hub. And that's funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration. So when that sub-award comes through, we will be managing more than $9 million for the current fiscal year in publicly funded projects. So those are just a few highlights for you. I'm happy to answer questions that you may have now, or you can always be in touch with Dr. Cruz or Beth with additional questions. We're happy to update you.
Questions?
Question as I was looking over it, I just was curious more about the Biohealth Tech Hub Award and what that work looks like, what those roles look like in biohealth.
Yes, so that's it's kind of an interdisciplinary approach to looking at future workforce needs in personalized medicine. So how is the technology going to be working to formulate medications or use analytic approaches to help people with diagnostic and treatment approaches. It's also upgrades to the way that we train people to more rapidly prepare them for a workforce that's dramatically expanding. So for our portion of the project, with Madison College, the technical colleges are really looking at what's the pipeline for getting people from the community into training and into those jobs. So most of our investments at MATC will have to do with personnel, more instructors, upgrades to some curriculum so that we can create programs as receptors for that workforce. And then also some upgrades to our physical labs so that the students have access to more cutting edge technology. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And there's so many people at the college that worked very hard to make that application competitive. And it's a great collaboration.
It's awesome. Thank you for that.
Dr. Baker.
So two things, and I don't expect you to have this at your fingertips or anything, but I think it would be very helpful for us to be able to see like a year to year, like in the future when we get reports. Because I mean, I know that some of these Perkins, we always receive Perkins. It may vary somewhat how much we receive. We always receive allocations from WTCS that it may vary some, but I think that would be sort of a useful thing for us to be able to look at to see how we're doing and if there are gaps or places we're excelling or whatever. So that's one piece. And the other is, does the grants office do any private sector grants or is it all public sector?
No, we partner with the MATC Foundation for private. So we have like a shared governance committee called the Grants Council. And when campus leaders identify opportunities or opportunities come to us, everything goes through the Grants Council and they apply a set of criteria to, does the college have the capacity for this? Is this going to really make things better for our students or for our community? And then once a decision is reached to pursue it, that it makes sense to pursue it, it's either referred to the grants department if it's public funding, and then we work on developing the application and managing the implementation and the reporting and all of that, or it is referred to the MATC Foundation if it's a private funding source, and then they take it from there. So it's kind of a division of labor. It's been working. We've been doing that probably for the last 4 or 5 years.
So if I just want to follow up.
Sure.
So I run this like big business and I want to give money, but I want to give it directly to the college. Can I do that?
It would have to go through the MATC Foundation.
But I don't want to give it to the foundation. I want to give it to the college. That's my question. Can I do that?
Yeah, I don't know that we
Okay.
have policy to support that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Huh?
Is there another question?
Yeah.
Sherry was answering.
Oh, Sherry was answering the question.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
you can, it says that the board recommends that donations be made to the foundation. However, a donor could express that they want to make a donation to MATC.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sherry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's good. We're
Kind
all
of
more clear now.
drilled down in it.
How big is the check you're planning on writing?
Once I start that private sector business, I'm gonna be happy to.
Excellent. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Dr. Najib.
Just about the same issue. Just I see that most of the sources of MATC grants coming really from very few sources. That's the WTC and maybe Madison now possible grant. It has to be some other sources too. Is there any efforts in that regard to get other sources?
Yes, and we do have several streams of federal funding that come in. We currently have a couple National Science Foundation grants that we are managing that are quite large. We have funding through Department of Health and Human Services for suicide prevention. We have a large, like $500,000 grant every year that we goes through our child care center from the Department of Education. And during COVID, we managed over $67 million in federal relief money related to the pandemic. So we definitely work with many sources and are happy to welcome more.
But why was it included in the report?
It was in the recorded report that was sent to you, the video, I recorded that. Yeah, and the written report and the slide just kind of lumps together non-WTCS and federal, which was close to $500,000, and then sub awards, which last year was about $750,000. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, board monitoring, a marketing plan presentation. Is Tony here? There he is. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Foley, President Cruz, members of the board. So similar to Dr. Mikule, I shared a recorded presentation as well as the slides from the slide deck with you, and I'm just going to outline a few brief highlights for you this evening. So if we move to the next slide, just a reminder that, you know, when we're marketing, we're looking at our market, and that includes our current students. So just a reminder that more than half of our current FTEs come from students in the applied Associate of Arts degrees. Those are our career-oriented 2-year, about 21% from liberal arts 4-year transfer, 9% from certificates and diplomas, and then about 5% each from ESL and adult basic ed, adult high school continuing ed, and then the last on that list is apprenticeship. So the next slide, we can show a lot of marketing metrics, but the bottom line we look at is how's our brand and how's our enrollment. And so the ads that we run are trying to build one or the other or both. We have new baseline data on brand that comes from some recent surveys, and we'll use this as a point from which to build. So 83% of district residents surveyed believe we're positively impacting the local economy. And when we were tested in our district against 2 4-year institutions and a private institution that are in some ways our primary competitors for students, we were the only one that had a net promoter score that was positive, meaning more people would than would not recommend us as an institution. So those are really positive, but they're also places from which we expect to grow. The other baseline on enrollment is really applications. That's where marketing can drive enrollment most directly. And so that's on the next slide. So this somewhat mirrors what you saw in the strategic enrollment management presentation a few months back. The numbers are a little bit narrowed down to focus only on new applications, remove any duplicates. But you can see overall over the 9-year period that we can see in our dashboard, new applications are up 22%, an average of 3% a year. And because we're seeking to become a Hispanic serving institution, I pulled that number out specifically as close to 80% growth over that same 9-year period. We do see that across other racial, ethnic groups as well. Generally, so Asian student applications up 60%, Black or African American applications up 30%, multiracial up 77%. White student applications are relatively flat over that time period, but we see growth in those other populations. And that's where we can impact the most. But as if you saw in the presentation, I'll touch on a little bit today, we have some new intentional efforts to use marketing and advertising to move students down the funnel from application to registration. It's always been a part of what we do, but we're leaning into it. So the next slide, and this is where Jacob, when I give you the cue, just go ahead and click on that. But we also shared with you the creative from the new campaign, the first that you're seeing just this afternoon. I will show you 2 elements of it. One is the family focused creative, thinking about a potential student who is also a parent who wants to elevate her entire family. So we can go ahead and play that, Jacob.
You want a career that makes your biggest dreams possible. Now that's a future worth working for. And here is how you get there. Here at MATC, where you invest in yourself and we invest in you. Get an education that builds a career, that makes a whole lot more possible for your family. Here's how you get there. Here at MATC.
Thanks, Jacob. And so if you look back at the slide deck and you'd be able to see this in the PDF, you can click on it as well. You can click on some of the other campaign pieces that I won't show you, but that little gray circle, you can play a Spanish language radio ad. When we talk about things that are new, and sorry, Jacob, you can move ahead to the next one. We have always talked about four-year transfer as long as I've been here. In the ad copy, you'd see things like start a career in as little as 1 to 2 years, or a more affordable path to a four-year degree. We're really leaning into it. There's more competition, frankly. We used to be one of 6 tech colleges that offered this. Now all 16 do. And we're not competing across district lines, but it's that students in the neighboring districts who might have come to us can now go to their home districts. And so it puts us in a little bit more competitive. We want to build up that market share within our districts. And so this is the first time that there is a specific stream of creative all about the four-year, and we can play that right now.
You want to start an education you can finish, where you want, and here is how you get there. Here at MATC, where you can kickstart a four-year degree and lifelong success. See what's possible at matc.edu/get there.
Thanks so much. So I'll close just in the short highlight, again, leaning into that, what we do post-application. So our team in marketing, if you look at the whole presentation, and you've heard me say this before, right? We integrate what we do on the paid marketing side with what we do in newsletters, on organic social media, how our recruiters go out into high schools in the community. But one thing that's new this year is really specific ads for every stage in the process. We've always run these ads to say, okay, you've applied, but you're not admitted. You're admitted, but you haven't registered. You're a continuing student, but you haven't registered. You stopped out for a semester and you haven't registered. Those ads have always been in there, and they're list targeted. This year, there's separate creative for each that's really designed to have an emotional grab for students at that stage in the process, and a clear call to action of what their specific next step is going to be. And that's what you see on the screen. So I want to close there. Again, the full presentation was emailed to you. We're really excited about this and the early results we've seen. As Dr. Cruz mentioned, we have seen continued increase in applications even beyond what you saw in the chart there, because they're up again this year. And since the new campaign initial elements launched in May, we've seen greater growth in applications. So we're excited about that. But we also need to, as Dr. Cruz mentioned, lean in as a marketing team to the conversion piece. And we have some elements of this that will help us with that. So questions?
I have
You're really eager here.
No, I appreciated looking at the campaigns and everything and thinking about how it's impacting enrollment. And I was thinking about our staffing and how we're always looking for candidates for staffing too. And I wondered if the marketing campaign crossed over into that arena too, especially.
Yeah. So we currently don't have a broad-based paid ad campaign for work at MATC in general. However, we have engaged with Al Bonds and her team. We're doing a complete overhaul of the HR presence on the website. And there are a number of areas when we engage, including posting jobs on LinkedIn and things like that. And that's pretty similar to what the other colleges in the WTCS are doing, is kind of engaging in a strategic way on specific pieces like that.
Okay, I'm glad you're thinking about that.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The target audiences for these different levels of ads, what is the strategy behind where their people are going to see them, who's going to see them, how's their algorithm, if you will, going to be set up, et cetera? Can you?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a little bit of detail in this in the recording, but so brand enrollment or brand ads, we're always going to be looking wide audience, right? The whole community, business leaders, and we're going to look at places where lots of people will see them, because we don't have to be so particular about, are you or someone you know actively considering or ready to consider college? So those are kind of wide audience. We do have some top of funnel ads on the enrollment side that are meant to draw applications and inquiries that are broad audience. So when we roll out the final media plan for this year, you'll see what we call posters. They're small billboards around the community, some transit shelters, some mass market radio, a little bit of mass market television. Those pieces do exist. But then as we get farther down the funnel, it's going to get more targeted, more digital. And so even at the top of the funnel, some of the ads are digital, because we can say, this person has self-identified in an online profile as a high school junior, senior, or the parent of a high school. There's a campaign specific for parents of high school. We can do it based on hashtags people follow, on searches, if people are searching for college and career, and a wide variety of things that we know people search for. We pull, do digital ads based on that. And then all the down funnel ads are 100% list targeted. So I probably mentioned this before, but evolution of ad technology. When I started here, the new latest and greatest is we could draw circles around the campuses and say, serve this ad here. But then the campus executive director would be like, hey, great ad. I saw it while I was taking a walk around the pond. And I'm like, that's great, but you don't need to register for classes. With list targeting now, where we align it to exactly the audience that needs to see it. So it's served up when we can match the individual person at a stage in the process with that audience. So that's a little bit of how that lines up, if that answers your question.
It does. It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Questions? Director Najib, any questions?
Yeah, really, I like the ad, and visual is always more effective. But my question, did we used to have also video ad before, or this is a new idea?
We have had video ads before, so I think there's more video options here. The first campaign that we did that was new since I was here had an illustrated approach, and so there would be animation to it. But this is, there are more videos in this campaign than there had been previously. Not all, but most of the ad sets include a video asset, which means even if we're not doing it at the top of funnel, we can use streaming audio and video to do something targeted with video or with radio.
And will it help if you have this video in different languages too, or just in English?
So we do have video resources in Spanish, and that is the current extent to it right now. We do have digital ads in the marketplace for English as a second language that are also in English and Spanish, and then the web page is translated into 6 or 7 for ESL in particular is translated into 6 or 7 languages. That's, I would say, the focus right now.
That's good. We have a new large number of Rohingya community, and most of them still their English not very good. Maybe also if we have something in their language, they can think about enrolling in MATC.
We can, I think that if they're, I would say this, if knowing what you mentioned and knowing a little bit about the population, the ESL would be their first step. And so we have to make sure that that's accessible. And so the website accessibility is a part of it. And we can also look at opportunities for that in languages beyond English and Spanish. We just want to make sure that we can get that audience and that it's effective, but absolutely worth looking at.
One final question about the slide with multi-year comparison. So for the last 4 years, looks like really the enrollment, not much difference. So this also included the COVID years. So it looks like we need to put a lot more effort to increase the enrollment.
So, and we can put the slide back up, but so the last 4 years, 2 of the last 4 years were records in the last 9 years, and this is applications. So when you narrow it to just new applications, remove any duplicates, 22-23 was a 9-year record, and 23-24 was the second highest number of applications in 9 years. So there's always room to grow with the early numbers we're seeing from for this fall due to the, and I mentioned this in the recorded presentation. There are a host of things that I believe are driving these application numbers, including continued process improvement and work in admissions, the work of our recruitment team on the ground. I think scholarships play a role. I think the marketing plays a role. There's always more we can do, and the early signs are positive, but I think that even if the trend line doesn't look quite as sharp up, we are actually setting records in the recent past.
I have one more.
Go ahead.
One more curiosity question. Are we on TikTok? Should we be on TikTok?
So short answer is yes, we are and we should be. So we do have paid TikTok ads to stay compliant with college and state regulations. It's launched entirely by the agency. It's not on any district devices. But we do have ads on TikTok as part of the strategy.
dancing in them?
There's no me dancing in any of the aspects. I think it's part of why you see the positive.
But I do under,
Very mindful,
Mine.
very mindful.
but you did just receive some
Yes.
award from the Biz Times.
Yes.
So somebody's might make you dance.
I'll try to avoid it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any new business?
I have something whenever I can.
Director Najib.
I received a flyer. I can see it here. That's the flyer from Department of Workforce Development, and they have what you call a paid apprenticeship, where they graduate and certify medical assistants for clinics, hospitals, dental offices, labs, and looks like they pay them while they even studying, or they work while they're studying too, in many fields. So that's one of the issue I was trying to get understand more about MATC, what field we have. I don't know if we have something similar to that, where they encourage people to, while they're working, they have some income at least that they can continue to work. This is the Department of Workforce Development. And the idea, I like the idea because this will encourage people more to work, and at the same time, they're making some income. They can finish their college, then they have they have a career.
Well, I'm not sure if there's somebody here who'd like to address that. That is one of our models to develop apprenticeships that work just that way. I don't know specifically what we're doing in the health fields, but
And you're also not noticed to talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
could address that.
but someone could respond in something in writing, since we're not noticed.
yes, we can't go beyond the agenda, but we can put this on the new business agenda for next time.
Don't take it personal.
Because you asked for new business, that's why I
Yes,
That's fair.
that's
great.
that's
Yep.
absolutely appropriate. Director Baker.
So I just noticed that at our places, there's a little handout about new strategic plan development, a little bit of a calendar. So is this something that the board will?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
So that would be sort of new business.
The administration is working on that calendar. And as part of that conversation, I've suggested we should be brought in earlier rather than later. There is in that list a suggestion that the board's review of the mission and vision can be done now. And I think there probably isn't a lot of controversy about that, so we can look at that as new business as well, but I'll check with the administration to see when they're ready for us to do that.
Cool, thank you.
Great. Anything else? All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Director Burris, is there a second?
Come on, second.
Director Owen Moore.
Okay, this is a record.
It is record.
We gotta finish it though.
We have to continue to have records.
Would all those in favor of the motion to adjourn say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
We are adjourned at 5.
Streamlining.
I know. Okay, there's no, like usually we have a public television.
Right.
I love this. I know it is, right?
And I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I asked a lot of questions.
Do we have executive session or we're done?
And that's all you really, I mean, you have the.
Nice job.
You have more information anyway, you know, but it's like, I think it's enough.
They're not all.
So then we are. Right?
Yes.
And gives you like